Hello, listen, we're live, okay? Hi, good to see you. It's a few minutes to midday, so it's good to say good morning, happy Monday, happy new week. I hope you're well. I know we're late, but here we are, okay? The show must go on, and we must be here today on a Monday. It's Mindful Monday right here on the show. So good to see you. My name is Uni Lubembe. Welcome to the show, and we'll be talking about father wound. Let me tell you, you know those topics that you dread to talk about because of how deep and how heavy they can be. That is what we'll be talking about today, and that is understanding father wound, and we'll be breaking down the stigma and stereotypes, and even just telling you what it looks like, okay? When it comes to the symptoms, signs and symptoms, we'll be diagnosing you today if you have the symptoms of father wound, but again, we'll have an amazing conversation. The panel is already here. There was a conversation that was started, but again, I was on leave at that time, and it was understanding mother wound. So if you were there, then you want to stick around, because today, like we said, we'll be talking about the father wound. So on the panel today, we have Pastor David Aduno, who is a mentor, coach, as well as a public speaker, joining us on set today. Karibu sana. First time here on Your World.
This is second time.
Second time?
Yes.
Where was I? The first time you were here. But Karibu sana. Really good to see you. Agiso T. Oduno as well joining us. She's a transformational coach. Good to see you. I remember you on Your World, but I was on leave. Oh, so good to see you. Karibu sana. Really good to meet you. They are a couple, in case you didn't figure the name, Oduno. And we also have Peace. Amesema leo tumwite Peace. Historia Peace jui kalu anataka kuitwa Peace leo. Good to see you. The last time you're here tulikuwa hapa kwa mat. Tukididi yoga, but you're here in a different capacity. I know we had that discussion after, the show. So you're here to just share your story, but also you are a mental health advocate?
Mental wellness facilitator.
Yes, mental wellness facilitator. Good to see you as well. Karibu sana, Peace. And we have Lydia Karimi, who's a counseling psychologist as well as a marriage and family therapist. Where? Good to see you. Good to see you. Karibu sana. Thank you. Welcome all of you to the conversation, this morning, almost midday. And the question that we have for you this morning is, let me tell you this question, okay? So the question goes, there you have it on your screen. What is one thing you wish your father or your father figure had said to you, but they never did? Okay. Wow. What is that one thing that you wish your father or your father figure had said to you, but they never did? That is the question that we're asking you this morning. Very deep question, but yes, let's get to hear what you have to say. At NTV Kenya, across all board is how you can reach us, or use our WhatsApp number, 0112 500 400, or better yet, give us a call. We're live. So again, we'll pick your call and either ask a question or contribute to the conversation this morning, and that is as far as understanding the father wound. But before we even understand the wound, can we just start with understanding that role and that title of a father? Can we just understand it? Then we'll come to the wound a little bit later. But really, who is a father or a father figure in this case?
A father is somebody who, with a God-given responsibility to lead the family. Okay. And leading the family has to do with fulfilling roles. Okay. And in marriage, there are roles, the mother's role and the father's roles. And sometimes these can interchange. But the father maintains that overall responsibility to give guidance to the family unit, to give security to the family unit. And here's one I think is really important, to show love to the family unit, because that's one thing kids are always looking for. Yes. Am I loved? Yes. Critical. Yeah. So the father's role is encapsulated on the word love. And I'll finish by saying the father's role is also summarized in the word shepherd. A shepherd is interested in the well-being of the sheep. It goes beyond, you're looking at, are they fed and then the right pasture? Do they have water? Do they have enough work to do? All that, if you can think of a shepherd, you will now get the role of a father.
Most of the time when we think about a father, we think to provide, to protect, to, and I'm sure you also have had this, like say, like in counseling rooms and all those things where the notions when it comes to a father, sometimes it's like, we expect too much, and we judge harshly. And, what is this one thing that you've noticed from the counseling rooms as far as just understanding that role and that title of a father.
Thank you so much for that, Winnie. You know, it is true, most of us, we've been socialized to understand a father's position from a point of provision.
Okay.
But in real sense, a father has bigger roles beyond providing. From a psychological perspective, we realize that a child that has experienced a father's love, that has experienced a father's presence, this is a child that grows with a very secure attachment.
Okay.
A father who affirms the daughter or the son, because father wounds apply both to the women and
to the
to daughters and to sons. Yes, a child that has grown up with the presence and being affirmed, experiencing touch, the love languages from a father, then this child is able to grow and to mature very well. The child is able to experience adaptability, noting that maturity is not necessarily the physical provision, but also the psychological provision and care of that particular person.
Okay. I mean, do we understand that role, title, expectation when we say a father is, like you said, is a leader, is a protector, is supposed to offer that love? How much of that do you think we understand? Because a lot of people would say in African culture, if your dad does not beat you, they do not love you.
Thank you, Winnie. There's the cultural aspect of it, but I think one very important thing, bringing in the gender issue, is the father is a girl's first view or first picture of masculinity.
Yes.
And if the father is absent, then somehow she'll get this picture from other people. But if the father is present, and even for the boy, you notice boys trying to wear their father's shoes, trying to act like their father, big coat or whatever. This is the first view that they have of masculinity. So that, again, the gender aspect, just as Lydia is saying, the psychological aspect. The cultural aspect has interfered with it because there are roles that have been assigned by culture and society that are not really true. That your father must akuchape, then you know that he loves you.
Love you.
They do that to women. My husband must beat me before, so that I know that he loves me.
Yes.
But we need to decipher that. We need to decipher that. Some of them are labels that we have received from our culture and from our society.
Which is not entirely
true.
Right? I see that. I know you want to add something. Okay, go and then I'll speak to you, please.
I was just going to add that there is also the issue of a role model, which is very important for us, especially for the boy child. It's important to be monkey see, monkey do. It's very important for a boy just to see that. So that role model goes back to what she had mentioned about presence. And that's why I also believe, and we've said that in the book, that the lack of a father, the father's absence in a family setup, constitutes a very serious wound. Just because now the kid is looking for a role model. Who am I going to emulate? Who am I going to copy? So I'm just adding to what Tangiso said. It is important that also there's a whole aspect of role modeling that a father brings into the mix.
The absence in itself is a wound.
Exactly.
Because most of the time when we think about the wound, we would think you are tandikwad, or something that was inflicted on you. But no, even just the fact that they are not there creates a wound in itself, which again, we'll unpack more as we continue with the conversation. Peace, then speaking to you, because today you're here to share your journey, which I know, yes, it was difficult, but then again, there was forgiveness. And we were discussing about this, the time you're here, and you said, you know what, I actually had to learn to forgive my dad, and now you guys are buddies, right? So can we go back to what had happened, and even based on what they have said, and just understanding that definition of a father, how much of that did you receive, or how much of that did you miss?
I grew up with a stepdad. And I didn't behave well as a young child. And so my stepdad did not interact with me so well because I I wasn't like following like the instructions that he was giving me. I had some habits of behaviors of like watching movies, and he wanted me to be a very responsible kid, and he wanted me to be a good kid, but I wasn't like stopping that, and as a result of that, we had misunderstanding, and we didn't connect so well in my growing up, and that kind of relationship between me and my stepdad affected me to such an extent that I developed some mental health issues when I was growing up, and so I have had like to work on myself, to work so much hard to be able to find who I am and to be able to create peace with my stepdad right now.
I see. And again, if you don't mind me asking, and to a level that you're comfortable to share, one would ask what happened to your dad, and then the behavior, was it more of a reaction to the fact that he is not present, or was it like, what was it? What brought about the behavior, based on what you're saying, that you did not behave in a way that your stepdad sort of expected you to?
It's a very complex question, because my situation is a situation where my mom got pregnant when she was 18 years. And the guy who was responsible for the pregnancy denied or abandoned my mother. So I never got to see my my biological dad. And what was the question again?
It's okay. And we understand, completely understand. So you never met him. He was never in the picture. You didn't really know him. But the other question would be, so the behavior, because you talked about not behaving in a way that your stepdad sort of expected, was it sort of like a reaction based on there's so many questions that you had about your dad, who is here and whatnot.
Thank you so much. As I said, it was intense and it was a very complex question. So this is my when I was on my healing journey, how I looked at that. The behavior that I had as a young boy, the question would be, where was that kind of behavior coming from? You know, because even kids have behaviors of their parents, whether they are in the womb or whether they are born, they have behaviors of their parents. And for me, I feel that I had the behaviors of my, I don't know, but I just feel sometimes it's like I had a nature of my biological dad. And I want to say this because my mom, when I went to inquire about my biological dad from my mom had told me some certain things about my original dad.
Thank you, Bella. Yeah.
And so in my healing journey, I was able to figure out when I was a young kid, I had some behaviors maybe might have come from that. But now, the current dad who came in, I feel he kind of struggles with this kid who had this kind of behavior of
where they were coming from.
So he had, I do not want to talk bad about him because we have talked, we have solved issues. But I just want to understand him as a man and give him some flowers because he is a man who came in for my mom. And he like a lot of people today say, like a single mom who doesn't work. So I come from a family where a guy came in and stepped in. And till today, the guy has been in the gap. And I feel he has been through so much. And he has even gone through so much to be able to, you know, to maintain the family. And
look at you even just lighting up when you're talking about him and the role that he's filled and whatnot, which is really beautiful to see, because a lot of people don't get to that level of forgiveness and reconciliation. You know, so for you to get to that point, I think it's commendable to both you and your stepdad for working it out together. We'll come back and explore more of that, right? But just to pick on what he said, that he feels some of the behavior and how it was manifesting was, you know, might have come from, you know, your biological dad. So from like a psychologist's point of view and perspective in terms of behaviors and what we pick, and even when we're still in the womb, some of the things that we actually pick as kids. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, one of the things that I've come to realize or to learn over time is that every human being has a need from birth, from the moment they are in their mother's womb, has a need, comes out with a need for love and for care and for connection.
Okay.
And God is amazing. He creates us in a way that there is something in us that that makes us desire or have a longing to connect with the male and the female.
Okay.
And you'd realize that there are certain kinds of hormones that are released whenever somebody or whenever a child interacts with a mother and whenever a child interacts with the father. And the hormones, some of them like oxytocin is the same, but you see for the woman, there's the prolactin hormones. And for the man, there's a hormone that is released that's called vasopressin, something like that, that is a security hormone.
Okay.
So whenever a child connects with their fathers, then there is that sense of safety, sense of security, and that really enhances their capacity to become, their capacity to go out there and try things out, become creative and all that. While the oxytocin that comes, the prolactin hormone that is released by the mother, it helps a child feel loved and cared for. Now, these hormones are very basic and very important in the growth and the maturity of the brain of a child. So the moment the child grows up feeling safe and feeling happy and taken care of, whenever they feel the presence of their fathers, of their parents, then it means that their brains can function openly and the brain can be able to make decisions logically.
Okay.
And there is a certain part of the brain that is called the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking brain that matures very fast in the presence of both parents. Now, whenever the parents are not available, or maybe there is verbal abuse, or whenever there is emotional distance, then the brain that we call the amygdala brain, which is the emotional brain, then sends an alert that there is danger. There is no care, there is no protection, all right? So the moment that brain sends danger to the nervous system, then the nervous system reaches out to the cortisol, sends a need that we need to release adrenaline and cortisol levels, so the child becomes hyperactive. This means they get into survival mode. And now I want to imagine that that is where peace was in a survival mode. You know what? There is no love here. There is no care. There is no safety. There is no protection. So I need to guard myself. So now the child builds, naturally builds walls. I want to believe that as he was being taken care of by the mom, realizing that the mom was, of course, busy working hard, putting a lot of effort, of course, something inside of him could tell there is someone that is missing here. There is a certain hormone that is not being released here. And therefore, the memory brain keeps a record that my father is not present. So now he comes and interacts with this new father. And he's coming with a what? A survival brain. That you know what? I am here, but I know you've not been in my life in my younger stages. So most of the times children react. They tend to react. And I want to believe that is where he was at a survival stage. And this thing, of course, that when cortisol levels, the cortisol hormones and the adrenaline hormones are higher compared to the serotonin and the dopamine and oxytocin levels, then it means a child is likely to experience mood instability, emotional irregulation, and then now this tells us why he would behave the way he was behaving.
I see that. And to pick from there, before we speak to Pastor David about then understanding the wound, I know we talked about absenteeism being, you know, instigating a wound in itself, but also how parents show love versus how kids receive love. Because remember, we talked about how we've been socialized versus the psychology, you know, aspect of it in terms of what is being given versus what you know is being received.
I think one thing that we have written in our book, which is newly published,
and we'll talk about
is that every child asks the question, "Do you love me?" That's the basic and pivotal question that a child comes. When a little baby comes, "Oh, you know, Daddy," they're asking, "Please love me." And so there are things that, there's that deep need, as Lydia is saying, to want to be loved, accepted, affirmed, and encouraged as a child. And that is why they're reaching out to you. So many times, some of the things that are said are not meant, they're said inadvertently. And these days with all the devices that we have, the phones, a child may come to the father and he's on the phone and he's like, "Don't disturb me, go away," and that wounds a child. Or a child, a father favors one of the children. And this other child would feel, "Daddy doesn't love me. How come he doesn't smile when I come into the room?" And this is something very, very real that people I have interacted with have told me that when my mother interacted with the other children, she was really stern. But when the last born walked into the room, she would smile. And for us, and this person was telling me, for us, I wondered if I was her real child. So there are those kinds of nuances and things, actions that parents have done, words that they have said inadvertently. Again, we talk about parenting the way you were parented. And you've mentioned, Winnie, that in the African culture, parents don't have time to coddle, you know, sugar, you know, sweetie baby. No. And especially if it's a single mother and the father comes from far away or works away, he doesn't have time. He needs to get the basic things done. So culturally also, there are a lot of things that we've said and done that have caused the child to either feel out of place, unloved, dysregulated, as Lydia says, in her emotions, but most of all, not affirmed and not seen. They're not seen in terms of love, attention that they're looking for in a father. Remember, the father figure is, you know, when we were young, we used to say, "Hey, my father can beat your father." So that confidence of a child needs to be, the father needs to pass that confidence to the child.
The question is then, do parents know? Because some of those things, again, like you're saying that example of the parent is on the phone, the child is like, "Daddy, mommy," and like, do parents know that they're doing those things? Because you talk to parents, they tell you, I would not intentionally hurt my child. But then you end up hurting that child, you know? So we'll come back to understand that. But then again, so the wound, because the father is this figure, this title, this person who we expect to love us, to protect us, to provide for us, to offer that sense of safety and security. And then, like we said, the first part is absent, so they're not there. So that creates a wound. But then can we also understand these other aspects of the wound that is being created by the father?
You know, wounding can be external. When you discipline a child with a rod, you can see the scars. But the ones that are dangerous and can last longer are the internal ones. There's a phrase we have here in a book on page 42. It says, "Walk gently in the lives of others. Not all wounds are visible." True. Now, one of the things that can cause a wound can be negligence, ignorance, and unseen scars. These can cause wounds. And we talked about you know, not being there. But how about a father who is there and is doing all the wrong things? Let me tell you something I've observed, which it looks simple, but it hurts children. Have you ever seen a child who is calling the mother, "Mommy, mommy, mommy"? The mother is on the phone talking to a friend. This kid has called 14 times, "Mommy, mommy." So as a kid grows up, they develop a very loud voice because they're never heard.
Yeah.
So they become very loud. Have you ever seen such people? Like when they speak, you have to lower the volume. It's come up because there's this insecurity, because if I don't speak loudly, mommy will not hear me. Yeah, they are unheard. And so I've seen that with we call it, I say, is it negligence of a kind you're neglecting, or is it ignorance you're ignoring? No, ignorance is more what you don't know coming in. Yeah, and it is a dangerous thing that a lot of parents do. You're wounding a child without realizing. But let me also say, not everything wrong a parent does constitutes a wound. Yeah, there's sometimes a father may do something that really, really irritates you. But if you don't carry it into life, if it doesn't become a bitterness point, if it doesn't become rejection, then it is not a wound. Your best friend can hurt you. It's not a wound. A wound is only when it becomes so serious, it gets into your subconscious and begins to change your character, begins to change the way you think, the way you feel, then that is a wound. It becomes a further wound when all those, that negligence, whatever wrong they've done to you, abandonment comes from the father. Then that's what you call it, a father wound. Because a mother can wound you, a friend can wound you, a situation can wound you. But father wounds are serious because this is the pillar of the family. If my leader can say this about me, then I'm really bad. See, and that's why the father wound is serious.
It's serious,
And also, just to contribute to what Lydia has said here, is the emotion that is attached to that incident and that is stored in the amygdala when that incident happens. If you tell me I'm stupid and I don't care, it doesn't bother me, but if you tell me I'm stupid and it really, really hurts me, it is stored in my subconscious mind, embedded there. And because of the negative emotion that is stored with this situation, that is what constitutes a wound, because it's imprinted on my personality, my feelings. So every time you're triggered by something that happens, you remember this, and what comes up is the sadness, the hurt, the pain that you felt, and that is what makes a wound. Like he says, a father may say something, if it doesn't bother you, it's okay, but if it pierces you and causes you to feel very negative, influences your emotions, then it becomes a wound.
You know what, that makes a lot of sense, because if you walk around and ask people how they were tandikwa or how they were disciplined, I think everyone will be like, yeah, but see, I'm wounded. We are walking around wounded people. So really, it does make sense that when it's imprinted, like, it takes to hurt. And Peace, I want to bring you in here, now that we understand, you know, the wounds and the causes of it. Lydia, will come back and then understand the manifestations. But really, so just going back to your childhood, right, and based on what they are saying, how much of what happened between you and your stepdad would you say affected you, that it stayed with you for a long time, that caused that shift between you and your stepdad?
If I got the question right, it's about the effects that I got out of the relationship with my stepdad. I don't even think that my parents have an idea. They have no idea at all. I don't even think the people have an idea of what I have been able to go through. Even myself, before I got into mindfulness, I didn't have an idea of what I had gone through exactly until I started working on mindfulness. Then I realized what I had gone through. And it's something that really made me so much emotional, so much sorrowful, and kind of demoralized me. But some of those struggles were things such as being absent-minded, mood swings, loneliness, low self-esteem, self-doubt, self-judgment, self-sabotaging, and forgetfulness, some traits and tendencies of ADHD and bipolar. So for me, it's been very extreme. It's like mental health struggles. Yeah.
And would you remember, like, say, an incident or maybe two that sort of like stuck with you for a while?
The current one.
Oh.
The one that I struggle expressing myself.
Okay.
And I'm still struggling with this. I feel like I deserved better. I feel like if I had experienced the idea of being empowered as a young boy, like in terms of how to express myself as a young boy, and being given exposure, I feel I would have been a different kind of a man. I'm not saying I'm not a better man, but I feel if I had if I had that support when I was young, I feel like there are so many things I would have accomplished. Currently, even now, I struggle a lot with expressions.
Okay.
Sometimes I can really lose words. Sometimes I go to places where people are like talking, and unless you point me, I will not say anything.
You will not. And is that because maybe you tried to voice something and you were tandikwa to shut up? Or you know, an example they gave, maybe you needed something and you were shut down, or, you know, something that probably you think might have led to, you know, the struggles that you've had to deal with?
It's just the words. The way they were said to me when I was a kid.
Okay.
They paralyzed me.
Okay.
And I been working with my therapist, and there is something called EMDR. That it's something that deals with past traumas, childhood traumas. So you go back to the memories and you pick a memory.
Okay.
Like, for example, if it's the memory of expression, I actually go back and find a memory that actually gave me that feeling. And what I remember is like these words that were said to me, and how they would make me like go, because when we were young, we were living in Dandora, and we were living in a single room. And so when my father would come in the evening, I would be so much scared, and then I would go and sit at the back of the bed. I wouldn't sit like in front of other people. And then I would start shaking. And then that really, it's something that happened for some time and kind of paralyzed me and gave me a lot of fears. And it really affects me so much. I really, how do I put it? Admire when I see people expressing themselves. When I go to groups, social groups, and I see boys and girls who are like talking, it's like it's just natural for them to talk. But for me, it's like when I talk, it's like I have to think of something, think of first word, second word. I have to ask them, did I say the right thing? Something like that. So expression is kind of a big problem. But I've gotten better with time.
You are doing better. Listen, the fact that you also talked about therapies, it's like you're putting in the work to sort of like reverse the situation, which is really good and very admirable. So yeah, you're doing well. You're doing very well. But Lydia, really to pick on the manifestations, you know, of actually the wound, and say from childhood and even just, you know, adolescent and into adulthood, what does that look like? Because again, like we said, some parents might be wounding their children and they don't know that they're wounding their children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Winnie. So let's say that anytime a child experiences wounds, whether mother wounds, father wounds, sometimes even teacher wounds. Don't take carry teacher wounds.
Exactly.
Or even neighborhood.
Yeah, it's true. I have stranger wounds. I have stranger wounds.
So what this does is it really affects our brain. Remember that the brain is that part of your body that really assists with the functionality of all the other parts of your body.
Okay.
And so now that we're talking about father wounds, there are different manifestations. Okay. And I'd want to mention three as I pick, as I branch them out. One of the things that is really affected is the adaptability. Okay. Once a child has been neglected, once a child has been abused, because people experience abuse, or once a child has been called names, has not felt love and safety, then they struggle with adapting. They struggle with change. They struggle with coping with the things that are happening in different environments. And you realize we are human. We are not islands. Yes. And with time, life is very uncertain, and there are changes that keep taking place. And as someone is growing from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, you may realize that there are people who are in their adulthood, but they are still regressed. They are still behaving as if they are adolescents. Yes. Or we see people in their 50s, but they're still struggling to put on, to dress up like, you know, a certain age, you know, that struggle with identity. So adaptability becomes a challenge. And the other one is vulnerability, whereby, you know, after experiencing father wounds, there could be a tendency to want to become too protective of yourself. So you build walls in such a way that you're not able to connect with other people. You're not able to enjoy love, to express love and receive love. Because where was it modeled? You did not receive it. Okay? And then they struggle with integration. We are social beings. So when we struggle to integrate with other people, this is where now attachment wounds, attachment injuries come in. Whereby now if people are in relationships, you realize that a partner may be avoidant attachment, another person is anxious or disorganized, and all these things boil down to the parenting. They boil down to our father or the mother, what the primary caregivers did. So when we talk about integration, this is now where we see people being aggressive, where I don't know whether you've been maybe going to, been in a matatu, and then somebody's just shouting, calling you names, and you really wonder, what did I do? You know? So this person is actually projecting wounds and injuries that they are carrying inside them, yes? So tendencies to be aggressive, sometimes tendencies to withdraw. People may withdraw from connecting with other people, because if you did not grow in a safe environment, then the tendency to not trust people, you know, you develop mistrust issues. So you prefer keeping your cool and walking a journey alone. Sometimes it's mental illness, mental health issues, whereby the people could experience maybe social anxiety. Whenever there are people, you're not able to connect, you're not able, you don't want to get closer to them. Yes, anxiety disorders develop, sometimes even depression, because, you know, that is a mood disorder. Those are mood disorders that come from the onset of I have not received love. I do not know what love looks like. I don't know what safety looks like. So it's for me to depend on myself. So people struggle to sort out or to handle stress in their lives. And the moment you're not able to handle stress, and it gets to a point where you're distressed, you get to crisis, then depression sets in. That is a sign. It's a manifestation of father wounds. Others is we see people in relationships. We see where we find dysfunctionalities, like people in marriages, people fighting their wives or their husbands. You know, these are manifestations of mother wounds, father wounds. Sometimes even engagement in maladaptive practices, like drug and substance use. it is also, you know, when we want to avoid the thought and the feeling that comes with, my father was never there for me. You know, he rejected me. He abandoned me when I was, you know, when I was very young. Then I need to find something else that can give me, can give me significance. So we get into other maladaptive behaviors that were necessary.
Interesting. You want to add something onto that? Okay, go.
I want to add something to that. There's a statement we have quoted here that says, children are like wet cement. Whatever falls on them makes an impression. Whatever falls on them makes an impression. I want to give an example of that. There's a friend of mine who does prison ministries. And one time he went to the remand prison in an industrial area. Remand prison is where you're taken before you're charged. And he does evangelism in prison. So he had heard that most men in prison have got father wounds. He had heard that, but he wasn't too sure. So what he did, he decided to ask them. Sasa was say, how many of you here grew up with a father? So people looked at one another. And he had about 100 and something people in the 105, 104. I kid you not, he says 6 hands went up. 6 hands went up of people who have grown up with their father. You see? So it just what you're saying, Lydia, there, that the effects are really serious. They're really serious. And even in the prisons, now this thing, the father wounds affects men in a very, very serious way. If you look at the 84, 85, 86 prisons in Kenya that are men's prisons versus 8 prisons for the women.
Clearly.
There's a huge problem there. And then again, but still on the same note, coming here, you will find street kids. And you and I know that those street kids, 90% of them are there because of a father wound. A father neglect, a father something, abandonment. So this thing of father wounds, the effects are just staring at us in the people who we deal with on a daily basis. I'm just bringing your the psychological terms into everyday what we see, and just connecting the dots. But you're I'm just agreeing with what Lydia was saying.
That like the problem is not even the problem, like the impact is more severe than we actually thought or think. Even
in the workplace. In the workplace, I'm talking about the workplace because I experienced that. When you have a boss who he's a man, and because of you've been wounded by your father, so you begin to project your anger with your father to your boss. Very early on in my career, when I just came back from doing my master's, I came and worked into a situation and had this boss, and I caught myself insulting him very badly. And I said, later on, now that I'm in this space of father wounds, I traced it back to the roots of being wounded by a man. By a man. So we project our pain, like you said, Lydia, we project our pain in relationships, in the workplace, in every day, the people fighting in the matatu,
in the places of worship.
The places of worship.
People wounding each other in churches.
So we'll come back and then, to just understand then the manifestations. Is it different, say, sons and daughters? Because you remember how you said the father is the first...
figure of masculinity.
Exactly. And again, moms and their sons, you know, that relationship, and fathers with their daughters. So does that, like when it comes to manifestations, is it different? Is it the same? We'll come back and understand that in a second. But just to remind you on the question that we're asking you this morning, and that is, what is one thing you wish your father or father figure had said to you, but they never did? What is that one thing you wish your father or your father figure had said to you, but they never did? On Facebook, Linton Cocktails and Asema, son, do everything, it takes time to to survive. So they wish this, they were told this, but they weren't. Irene Duby said to be a present dad to me. So wish, you know, the dad was present. Ali Conscience and Asema, I wish I could have talked to my dad for the last time when he was still lying on his deathbed at Kakamega General Hospital. I miss him, for it is now 19 years.
Wow.
Hey, wow, okay. And then Mirigi anasema nothing lasts forever, and then has put a heartbreak there. And then another person says, Ambrose Moja anasema anything positive. The wish that I just said anything positive to them. Again, keep sending your views. We'll be looking at them on Facebook, but on WhatsApp, let's see what people have to say in regards to the question of the day, and that is, what is one thing you wish your dad had said but they never did? Okay, so this one says, hello, I have never experienced love. My mother separated when I was less than 1 year, yes. My mom went to her hostile brothers and mom developed anger issues. My wife is emotionally not available for me. Wow, okay. And then another person says, hello, I have a question. My boyfriend grew up without his dad and he struggles a lot with opening up. I feel like he developed a wall, the survival mode that has been spoken about. But how exactly can I help him through it? Because yes, I really want him to be able to freely communicate with me, because I listen to him, but it hurts me that he doesn't just tell me stuff that disturbs him. Instead, he shuts down and prefers ghosting. We've spoken about it and he is really trying, but sometimes he goes back to that version of him. Kindly, how can I walk with him through the emotional trauma? Thanks in advance. Oh, that's really beautiful that you're trying to help him. Okay, and then another person says, hello, good afternoon to you all. I'm loving the discussion today. Most of the issues are quite relatable. I have a similar challenge as peace when it comes to expression and speaking out in social media, in social settings rather, and isolation from people. Can the psychologist or therapist present help us on how do we deal with this, and how can we reach them if possible for better assistance? This is G from Nairobi. So yeah, we'll give contact. And then another person says, hello, NTV. I'm Emmanuel from Moyes Bridge. For my case, my mom is a single mother. So it happened to liishi kwa grandparents until I turned 22 years. Here comes my case. My uncle used to abuse me nikiwa mdogo. If I do any mistake pale, hadi ananiambia, wewe, mama yako alikuwa, wow, okay. Yeah, those words imeni hurt. Hadi sahi, I'm 33 years and I haven't healed. I was also bitten so much. Hadi I remember nose bleeding karibu nikufe. Juu ya makosa ndogondogo tu. Ati nimeenda kucheza kwa neighbors. I wish my dad could be with me. Singepitia higher abuse. I am so sorry. And then this one says, hello, my name is Frank. I'm watching from Choka. I wish my dad would tell me that girls are still being born. I wouldn't have married at my age. Kibeni Ramba.
Oh, that's deep.
Wow. Okay. All right. Do we have another one, or we can answer the question? Okay. Yeah, I think we have addressed that. Okay, yeah, there was a question. I don't know, do you want to tackle the question? Yes. Yeah, I think they were asking about struggling with, self-expression and how can they come out of it. I think there are two questions. We might actually need to go back and see on the first one, but yes, struggling with self-expression. They said they have a similar issue with peace, and how do they come out of it?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So there are different ways with which you can be able to handle social anxiety or maybe social self-expression, self-doubt, low self-esteem. There are very, very many ways. One, from where I see it as a therapist, I'm very keen on understanding where are you coming from. Because self-esteem can come from different places. It could be you have a father wound, you have a mother wound, a teacher wound, or a different one, yes? Or it could be something else happened as you were growing up while you were in adolescent, or maybe when you're in marriage. There are people who have been married, gone through so much to the extent to which maybe they were good at expressing themselves, then find out maybe because of the abuse that they've experienced, then they ended up shutting up.
Yeah.
So from a therapeutic angle, I'd love to walk a journey with this person so that I can give help them get interventions that would actually align with what their needs are.
Yeah.
However, there are other ways with which we can handle our esteem issues, maybe building our self-confidence, and how we can be able to do this. One, we need to do SWOT analysis of who we are. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? And what are our threats? The moment you're able to make an analysis of that, then if you focus, then you'll be able to make a decision to focus on what you're really good at. Note that there are introverts and there are extroverts. Could you be an introvert? And that's the reason why you're struggling with expression, right? If you are an introvert, then we might need to look at in what situations might I need to be speaking to an audience, to a large audience. Okay. So knowing yourself, self-awareness helps a big deal. Number two, it's processing any traumas that you could be carrying. You could be carrying emotional wounds at that you picked at different stages of your life. And one of the ways is what we call a displacement method. Displacement method is emptying your memory brain, emptying the hippocampus, and putting or adding positivity. So one, we do that by affirming ourselves, speaking positive words about ourselves. The brain knows, acknowledges the words that you speak that you tell yourself. If you say, I am good, I am not, or I'm good enough. If you tell yourself, I am loved, I am safe in this situation, then your brain picks that. The other one is what we call mirror therapy. You go look at yourself on the mirror and allow yourself to appreciate the person that you see on that particular mirror. And then speak to yourself. You know, release the energy that you want to actually to manifest out there, because you have the capacity and what it takes to be able to do that which you want to achieve.
Interesting. Okay. And please, we'll come back to you to understand how much of this did you do, and what is the journey been like? You know, maybe you could also give them, you know, a piece of advice, because you've been through it. You've seen how it has affected you, and you're slowly, like you said, you're trying to do better. You're becoming better by the day. Yeah. So what is it that you'll tell this person who has the same issue with you, that is when it comes to expression and expressing themselves?
First is being able to identify whatever that you're struggling with.
Okay.
And if you know that you're struggling, admit that you're struggling.
All right.
And then ask yourself questions such as, can I deal this on my own? Can I deal with this on my own?
Okay.
Or would I need assistance? If you can deal with it on your own, then take the journey. If you can't deal with it on your own, then find a supportive team.
Okay.
And I also recommend you look for mindful activities. I'm a yoga teacher.
Okay.
And that is something that has helped me a lot to process my emotions and to connect with my body.
Yeah.
Doing Bible studies is very good, reading the Word of God on a daily basis, because at the end of the day, the only person who can solve our problems is God. You may have friends here and there, they can help you, but we say that at the right time it will happen, so God can use people. I always say that where there is a will,
there's a way.
There's a way.
There's a way.
And so as long as there is a will that you identify that you have this problem, and you know you really want to overcome it. You really want to overcome it. I think the way. But for me, you know, I have an empty fatherhood kind of growing up. But this is the hope that I have, that among the men, I am going to be a mighty man of valor.
Oh, yes. Hallelujah. Yes.
Yes. And also I am going to be a father of many nations.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Okay. The information, what you're talking about.
Amazing.
Look yourself and tell yourself this thing. You are doing great, Peace, and that's really good advice. There was another question on the boyfriend struggling to, you know, open up, and the lady's like, how do I walk this journey with him?
Yeah. It is difficult, but like Peace has said, he needs, the boyfriend needs to admit that he has a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, he cannot deny it or sugarcoat it. He needs to come to the point where I have a father wound and I need help. And that's the beginning of the root. His problems may be father wounds, or there may be other associated issues, but we need to then identify what is the root cause. If it is the father wound, then he needs to, like all the remedies that we've spoken about over here, he needs to try one of those. He needs to try therapy. He needs to examine his own background, and the person that he's with can help him by affirming him. And you know, sometimes a person like that really has a close relationship with the girlfriend, because now this is like the mother, and you know, he had problems with the father. So that relationship also needs to be examined. And then the girlfriend can help him to find areas of finding help, but she can also keep affirming him and showing him his positive sides, showing him the things that he has done well, and where his father messed up, and helping him to go back to that. And the most important thing is to forgive. Yeah, that's the most important thing.
We'll come back and talk about forgiveness, because here our time is far much spent, and we'll definitely not cover the forgiveness. So we will continue with it here.
I just wanted to add on to what Adisa has said, and to the men out there. One of the things that we as men look down on, and is critically important, is going for a professional help. Yeah, a married couple, they're having trouble. The lady says, can we go see a counselor? Yeah, you go since you see the problem. That's very wrong. We guys need to say, okay, kumeumana. I need to go see a therapist. If guys can break that glass ceiling, a lot of men would be helped. So guys, there's nothing wrong with going for help. To go see a counselor, go see a therapist. I think that's critical. The other thing I'd like to also add is that many times we do not know the problem because we haven't spent enough time identifying what the cause really was. We are trying to cut the tree here without going to the roots. So again, just like Pisa said, step number one, identify, research, look. Was it because my father himself suffered? Was it because he was just ignorant? Or was it? And once you have identified where the problem is coming from, it's then easier to forgive. It's then easier to say, okay, actually this problem is mine, and I can't solve it myself. Hey, sweetie, help me, but I need to go see a counselor. Can we go together? But guys, we are too proud to go to that step. We must say, I need help. And once we say you need help, there's so much help available. A lot of people say, me, I'm born again, I can't go to a counselor who's not born again. But there are very many born again counselors and therapists these days. So my message out there is that get help where possible.
Stop this, me, I can't involve a third party in my affairs.
Right.
Don't do that. Okay,
An add-on. And this is to what Giso has said, to this lady who is speaking about the boyfriend. And this one speaks to even people that are in marriage. Sometimes men can shut down and they don't want to express themselves. As I said, vulnerability is one of the areas that is affected whenever a man experiences a childhood wounds, or a father wounds. If we were to offer, if a married woman was to offer, or this girlfriend was to offer unconditional positive regard, you know, appreciate this person, affirm this person, build this person, eventually you know, we are human. The heart is going to melt down.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes we get visitor clients in therapy.
Yeah.
The client doesn't want to talk and doesn't want to talk. What do? You just provide presence, unconditional positive regard. Once the person is able to trust you, then now they're able to open up.
I see that. I see that. I'm really curious to talk about the difference in terms of manifestations for both sons and daughters.
Yeah.
But with our time, I'm like, oh, I do not want to like rush into it, you know, just for the sake of. So maybe we can, you know, talk about it probably tomorrow if you guys are available. Continue with the conversation tomorrow or next week. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it and see when you guys are available to really continue with this conversation so that we even get to that level of forgiveness. You know, because Peace, you talked about getting to that level of forgiveness and sitting down and addressing the issues. I remember you told me, hey, let me tell you, it was not easy. The first time I went to see my son, she's like, I do not want to talk to you. You go. But you got it. And you forgave each other and you guys are good now. So how did you get to that level? And also this thing about the father is always right. He's the head of the home. So he's, even if he hurts you, you are not supposed to tell him he hurt you because he's the leader of the home. So then how do we break free from this stereotypes and myths that we have believed for too long that, you know, this is what a dad should be like, and if he's not like that, then he doesn't love you. So there's so much really to cover. And also something else, the wounded father, right? Because he is, he is wounded and doesn't know that he is wounding the children. So then how do we identify? So there's clearly so much that we can't cover. But let's take a few feedback. On the question that we're asking, what is that one thing that you wish your father or your father figure had said to you, but they never did? Let's hear what people have said on our WhatsApp number 0112 500 400. So this one says, hello there. I grew up in a family, in a good family, but at some point in life, my parents separated and I was left with my young sister. I was a teen then, so I had to learn how to survive for me and for my younger sister. Now I'm 25, but I feel like this affected me a lot. I withdrew from people. I don't really know how to maintain relationships. Sometimes I just wake up and feeling very low. Other times, I hate my parents because I feel they were selfish, that they chose themselves over us. It really, really hurts me. Many times, I tell myself I'm strong, but at the end of my strongest, I find myself breaking down. I am so sorry. And then this one says, hello, I am a teen and I deferred uni to find myself, but I still live with my parents. I have a mother wound and living with her is heavy for me because I am retracting, but she's still bruising. My dad is good, he knows, but not the weight of it. Some days I hold back everything I'd want to say. Other times I just go numb, but I'm too self-aware to dodge everything. I'd appreciate help on how to navigate through this, through all this, because sometimes I try telling myself it wasn't that heavy, but the body keeps score. Thanks in advance. Oh, wow. Okay. This one, okay. All right. Yeah. So, yeah. So there's that one. Anybody wants to address, you know, this last one, and then go for
the lady who is it? I don't know if it's a lady. The person who referred to having taken care of her sister. Yeah. That is a serious wound because it's something we call parentification.
Yeah, she was parentified.
Yeah, she was parentified. You're made to be a parent when you're not ready. Yeah, you don't know what it is like. I know a case where a lady was helping her younger sister with a trunk on her head. They're climbing up to this boarding school. She's weeping and cursing at the mother. I'm carrying this load because my mother is not here. I'm doing what my mother should have done. And it's serious because now I've been thrown into the deep end. Again, we need to understand, why did our parents do that? Why did they throw me into the deep end? Because she's saying she wished she understood why the parents abandoned them. But that is one of the most terrible wounds you can have, because now she has a bad image about marriage. She has a bad image about taking responsibility. So many things have come at her. But it's good to work things slowly. Now that whoever wrote this is a little maturer, let it go. And next time we talk about forgiveness, I think that's what you need to do. Because it's something it's happened and it's gone. It's not continuing. So you can deal with it and get forgiveness
I see.
and forgive.
I see. Wow. And the other person who said, I try to be strong, but even at my strongest, the body still keeps score and it knows. So clearly there's a long way.
Yeah.
All right. There's someone who was asking for contacts. So very quickly, if we can just, you know, give out your contacts and then we'll put a pause here. Then we'll continue either tomorrow or next week. But yes, if you can just give us contacts on how people can reach you, that would be really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both David and I operate under the Truth Encounter Coaching Services. Our number is 0718 582035. That is 0718 582035. Somebody will be able to assist you. But we are also on Instagram on the handle The Truth Encounter _KE. The Truth Encounter _KE. And we usually put up a lot of suggestions, a lot of quips about father wounds and mother wounds and how to get help. That would be a good thing. I know the Gen Zs like that.
Yes.
So if you could just please hit us up on that. But otherwise, we, on the number stated, you will get assistance. I'd also like to mention that our book,
we'll actually talk about the book as well and talk more about it.
We'll be at Nuria from tomorrow.
Right. Fantastic. Okay, you contacted very quickly, like 5 seconds.
All right. So I'm Lydia Karimi. To reach me, I'm the lead psychotherapist at Age Consult Limited. To reach out to us, to this therapy firm, it's 0729 795131. You can look at Lydia, the therapist, on Facebook, on Instagram, or Age Consult. And even we're on our website, you can look at lydiakarimi.co.ke or ageconsult.com.
Okay. All right, please, do you want to give out your contact in like 2 seconds? Erakama, you're still healing.
My name is Peace.
Okay.
I'm a yoga teacher, mental wellness facilitator. I'm working on a community called The Voice of Hope for people who are going through trauma. So I believe it's important we have a community for that. So my social media handles are Kalu Peace Child everywhere. And my number is 0745 221 301.
Okay, 221 301. Okay, let's put a pause there. And then when we come either tomorrow or next week, we'll continue with the conversation and focus on healing and, you know, all these other aspects that we haven't, okay? But for now, have yourselves a lovely day ahead. My name is Winnie Lubembe. God bless and stay safe. Goodbye.